Hi, so great to be here at this digital edition of South Summit. I'm super excited to introduce our next conversation. Two of the great top keynote speakers for this year's edition of South Summit, which is Carlos Torres Vila, Chairman of BBVA, and Marcelo Claure, Chief Executive Officer of Softbank Group International. Carlos, Marcelo, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Liz.
The COVID crisis and everything that it has disrupted, what are the main impacts for your business? Carlos, maybe we can start with you.
For us, our day-to-day has changed dramatically. We were able to anticipate the crisis by sending our people home and really prioritizing health over anything else, prioritizing the health of our employees, the health of our clients. And thanks to our digital capability, we've been able to serve our customers and continue to be there for them with a very small proportion of our people really having to go to the branches to open them up. We have seen dramatic increase in the in-app registrations. I think it's 30% globally increase in app usage. Clearly technology has come to the rescue in terms of providing the service. In our case, we have also taken a step forward in terms of supporting society with about $50 million commitment of money. A big part of that was out of BBVA's own funds. Another portion was fundraising from clients and fundraising from employees. And that has gone to medical equipment at the beginning, quite strongly, supporting bringing ventilators and the likes. Also supporting the most vulnerable in the places where we're present. We'll talk about LATAM in a minute. And then finally also doing some funding for COVID-related research, mostly out of our foundation.
So one is, it's hard to sometimes talk about how good business is going, right, when you're experiencing so many losses. But let's park that, and I think the world has heard a lot of the negative side of COVID. But I will tell you, on the positive side of COVID, we have experienced probably the fastest and exponential increase of the digitalization of every life and of every business. And when we look at the world and when we look at investment, when we look at our portfolio of 170 companies around the world, I am every morning when I talk to our different CEOs, I'm blown away by the innovation or how everybody has digitalized their business. Unless I massively transform my business, I am never going to be able to survive. The pandemic has brought something that we said it was going to happen a few years from now, the digitalization of the economy, and it has accelerated. So I think the world has changed forever, and I think the world is never going to be the same. The pandemic is going to finish, and the world is going to go back to normal, and I say you're going to go bankrupt if you think that way.
Going forward, we envision a mix that people can continue to work from home a lot of the time for the things that working in a focused way in your own space with the flexibility to also tend to family matters. Also, it'd be helpful to bring more diversity to our workforce so that men also share on the work at home much more. And I think we need to work a lot in most of the countries where we're present. That's an issue, and I think working from home can help solve that matter as well. So for all of those things, we will maintain working from home as a real option possibility for everyone, but we will be requiring also that a percentage of your time, not just a percentage of your time, but for certain things, it's good that you come to the office every week and for team meetings, for dynamics that require you to be there.
And what we're seeing a lot of companies do, I'll give an example of Google. Google has a lot of employees that work across the bridge in Brooklyn. And those employees want to go to work, but somebody like Google, they don't have an office in Brooklyn. So those employees they're allowed to come to a WeWork in Brooklyn, we've made it look like it's a Google facility. What people are scared is to get into public transportation, to get into the subway, to get into buses and all that. But if people can find a way to walk to work, or just take one ride to work, or take a bicycle to work, people are dying to get back to work. So I think the future of working is not going to go, hey, we all work from home, but companies are going to have to think a model in which the offices are closer to where their employees live. Plan like you are with COVID for the next 2 to 3 years. One way or another, because this is not one that, hey, there's a vaccine and everybody gets vaccinated and goodbye COVID and world back to normal. That's the way we at Softbank are looking at the world, and that's how we're making our investments.
We announced a partnership with Uber in Mexico, which is quite successful in bringing also hundreds of thousands of customers onto our already very large bank in Mexico. We have other discussions ongoing with other big techs. We announced in July an agreement with Google to market a Google BBVA account in the US. Other banks as well, but we are one of a very few set of large banks that has announced that, and that's really a response to what you were describing. So on top of so our customers used to walk into the branch, right? So they would walk the street and walk into the branch and open their account or buy their product. Then they moved on to the digital channels some years ago, and already a large percentage, more than 60% of our clients are digital, and more than half are mobile users. So a lot of the new flow comes from our own digital channels. Now the movement is going into third-party digital channels. Already that's happening, and you know this better than me, Marcelo. And we're just partnering there so that we can do a win-win. We can provide the product, and we can partner with big brands that have also the cloud, the marketing cloud, the customer base to bringing new business for us. So we see it as a way of growing. And I think a lot of the banks are going to be out of business because the fintech competition, the big tech competition. In our particular case, we are one of a few, one of a kind that I think are doing the right things to be part of the landscape going forward as well.
Yeah. So from my side, we're big admirers of BBVA, and it fills me with a lot of pride that you see a Spanish company in the US. In many cases, when I see your name in branches and in some place in the US that I've seen, so I'm a huge admirer, and I love what you guys are doing. I just think we're going to experience one of the most fascinating clashes where I'm a believer a few banks that understand what's coming, that can adapt to it.
I think we have an opportunity. The pandemic is really an opportunity to reset. And one of the aspects we need to reset is precisely that of discrimination, and inclusion in all respects. Financial inclusion, gender, race. From our side, we're doing many things internally and also trying to do the same in society. Maybe one of the biggest initiatives, Marcelo, that we have at BBVA that I'm super proud of is our microfinance foundation.
So I am committed to helping this cause, and being a Hispanic in the U.S., right? And having been blessed with what the jobs that I have and the companies and all that, this is one of my personal commitments to try to help. And also my partner, my boss, Masa, he's Korean in Japan. So that's a different type of discrimination. But I'll tell you two things that we're doing. One is, I don't know if most people don't know, but in the US, there's about 9 million families who don't have internet access at home. People think of the US as this superpower, and in many cases, poverty in this country is pretty bad. And then the problem is that 80% of them are either Latinos or they're Black. So one thing that I started the 1 million project, in which we gave away 1 million computers with 1 million free internet access, with the hope to get my competitors, in my other job as CEO of Sprint, to get my competitors to react and to help me, what is called to once and for all, bridge the homework gap, because we can fix it, break it, because kids cannot do homework at home. And then now with the merger with T-Mobile that we just did, we made a commitment to give away 10 million free internet connections, meaning we're going to eradicate that. So that's going to be good for Hispanics, that's going to be good for Blacks. And then in the middle of this disaster, where we had protests, we had looting and all that, Softbank, I opened what is called the Softbank Opportunity Fund. And it's a fund dedicated only to support Black and Latin entrepreneurs who didn't have access. When I founded Brightstar, which became the largest Hispanic-owned company in the history of the United States, I didn't have access to venture capital. I didn't have access to private equity. It was really, really hard. And when I saw the numbers, only 1.8% of all venture capital goes to Hispanics and only 1% goes to blacks. And we are a much bigger part of the population. So I'm so proud we launched this. We've already funded close to 10 businesses. It's $100 million. It's a good start. We have over 700 applications, which is incredible. So we're committed to helping, at least in the US, all the Black and Latino entrepreneurs. And my goal is to expand that throughout the world so we can have a specific fund that can help communities that traditionally didn't have access. And it's not a gift, it's not a grant, it's not a foundation. We make money, we're investing, but we're giving the opportunity to entrepreneurs who didn't have a chance. So we're, and I think, again, both you and I are leaders of global companies. We both have, I guess, the Latin blood or Hispanic blood, and we both operate all over the world. So I look forward to continue to see what you're doing with your foundation. And if you see any opportunities in which we can get Softbank to partner with BBVA, we would love to try to just make the world a better place and a world that's more equal. So you can count on me for anything that we can work together.
Absolutely, Marcelo. Absolutely. Congratulations on the Opportunity Fund. It sounds extremely exciting, and I think there is plenty of room for us to cooperate. So really looking forward to hooking up on that.
Well, it's been
also
so nice.
Looking forward to meet you in presence.
In person. Thank you. Good luck.
Guys, that was amazing. Thank you so much for participating. What profound insights in so many different sectors, in so many different regions in a short space of time. So thank you again so much, Carlos and Marcelo, for participating. And folks, that's a wrap from us. So back to you at the studio.